Let's talk about this paper here. It's algorithmic monoculture in hiring. It's a paper by some people from Stanford University and studying how systems relate to hiring. We know that most companies cannot afford building their own enterprise softwares. That is why we have AWS for web services. If you cannot create your own server on premise, you can host your servers on EC2 instances and run Glue instances and so forth on AWS. That means you don't have your on premises server, you rent servers from AWS. The same for other departments in your company. For example, HR cannot afford a human resource management system built from scratch for your own company. So you hire systems, for example, Bamboo HR, to help you with human resource activities. Now, this paper exposes a challenge. I think it is a very big problem that is happening currently because of the services that people use. Remember, we are at the age of artificial intelligence, and behind artificial intelligence is a machine learning model. It's a model that is built based on historical data, and that historical data can be biased. Now, this paper here studies a polymetrics system. By a polymetric system, it means that there is a service that companies hire, similar service for recruitment. And this service here evaluates people who are applying by giving them games to play, and then gets some kind of a very wide data set from the games that these people play, and then it returns to the hiring manager whether the person is recommended to be hired or be interviewed or not recommended. Now, this paper tells us that for most of these systems, first of all, the systems are not many that these human resource departments are using. And that means that most companies are likely going to use one service to help them in hiring. So let's say company A to company Z, those are 26 companies, use one polymetric service to filter candidates who are applying for particular jobs. And if one application or one CV or one person does not meet the criteria that the polymetric system expects, is likely going to filter them for all the companies that the person applies to. So let's say I have features that make me who I am. So for example, I'm a Black person, male, I have studied computer science, I've studied math, and then I play a certain game, and maybe in the game it reads features that correlate with the biases that the system could be having. If the system scores bias high for me to not be recommended for a job, and 20 companies use the same system, likely if I apply to all those 20 companies, I am going to be rejected for a job. That is what this algorithmic monoculture pronunciation is all about. What it is trying to say is many companies subscribe to similar services or the same service to filter candidates. And this service here is a service that for a candidate who is applying for a job, makes them play a game. And then from those games that those candidates play, this system tells the employer or somebody employing that this person who is applying is recommended for a job or not recommended for a job. But now you have close to 1,000 companies using the same system. So if the gameplay of a person from Uganda, for example, where the internet may not be stable, and it doesn't perform well in those games, and the data is captured by one polymetric system. If this person applies to those 1,000 jobs and the system determines that the person is not recommended, it's because of, for example, the geographical region the person is. The person is likely not going to get job from all those 1,000 opportunities. And this is the bias that this is showing. But this is not what I am talking about, only because I foresee I'm talking like a prophet. This is just for a gameplay. At the beginning, I said that companies cannot afford these enterprise softwares, for example, for HR and so forth. And these softwares, people subscribe to them. So you'll find that there is one software. Let's take Bamboo HR, for example. If Bamboo HR uses similar large language models to audit or to verify or to filter CVs, likely if one person is rejected from one job, the person is likely to be rejected from several other jobs, because the input to the application is this person's CV, and it is scored against a job description and maybe what the company has put as a culture. What is my point with this video? I'm trying to say that, yeah, this is identification of a problem from Stanford, that, yeah, there are people, more so black people and females, who are filtered massively by these polymetric systems that play games. If a system is built on biased data, let's say it is biased based on ethnicity or biased based on gender or both, likely it is going to filter people from a particular ethnic group. But don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that you should be evaluated by ethnicity. I'm saying that you should be evaluated by competence. But your ethnicity should not influence the result of your competence. So if systems are built by biased data, a biased data, for example, your latency for internet speed, your gameplay may not be good, but you're biased based on your region. That is a feature that I am against. I am pro competence. Let's do live coding together. So let's not filter candidates from these places that are very far from, let's say, the US, let's say people from South Africa, people from Kenya, people from Nigeria, in remote places, do very good job. They can build massive systems. We are in these remote places, but that doesn't mean that we are not connected. We are connected, but maybe the way we are connected is a little bit slow. And this is a feature that correlates with the geographical region that we exist in. It's better you evaluate somebody's GitHub repository, for example. And also, if you're to build or you're to give context to a large language model, don't give context which correlates with somebody's ethnicity, somebody's gender, somebody's where somebody's staying in the world. That is what I'm trying to suggest in this video. So yeah, I have presented to you the problem from this paper. I urge you to go read this paper. It's very good read. And then tell me what you think in the comments. Yeah, and have a good day. Let's meet next time.